Hey everybody, welcome back to a new 2025 Motorized Thomas review. Today we're going to be taking a look at Thomas himself, and just for fun, I have 3 different versions of him. So let's go ahead and get right into it. I think after covering the 2 biggest characters being talked about right now, Scotsman and Duck, I wanted to go with Thomas next just because I feel like I have a lot to say about him. And like I mentioned, there are 3 different variants of him that I currently own right now. I can't find the talking one in stores yet. I don't know when that's going to hit. And I also don't have the barrel set Thomas because I haven't been able to find the set either. I wasn't able to get it when it was on Amazon. But anyway, I do have 3 of the Thomases here that I'm going to talk about today. But first off, this is the regular, normal, single or 2-pack Thomas. So, I'll go ahead and begin once again with the face. And I think this face is exceptional. I love this. This is a great Thomas look, I feel like. I mean, it just has so much personality, I feel like. He feels very characteristically cheeky. I love that he's kind of like looking up. His eyebrows are like, he's got one eyebrow raised, the other one kind of going down. I don't know. I feel like this just has a lot of character. It looks really nice. It just makes me feel like this is Thomas more than most Thomas toys do. I don't know. I just really like this. I think the sculpt is great as well. It just looks very accurate to CGI Thomas. And it also just kind of has its own little spin to it. It feels a little bit classic-ish. And I like that. So moving on down here. Unfortunately, we have no painted white running board and no painted buffers, which is a thing we will see on the deluxe version. But, I mean, I guess it kind of makes sense to not have these here. It's honestly not really expected of Mattel to be doing this for their standard releases, so I get it. And moving on, Thomas's side profile looks incredible. I really, really like the proportions of this. His funnel is a great height. His cab is an even better height. That looks really nice. And just, yeah. So one thing you're going to notice pretty blatantly is the rivets on the side, and I don't like them. I don't really think anybody likes them, but for some reason they are like an integral part of Thomas's design now. So, you know, they're here to stay, I guess. But anyway, at least they are a lot smaller than how they look in CGI, like in the show. So that's good. At least they're not super obtrusive. You can actually feel them. It's UV printing, so you can actually like sort of like you can rub your finger across and it'll feel like a slight texture there. Thomas also has his number 1. It's a decent size, I guess. Not really too much to say there. He has his handrails on the side as well. And also, one thing I really like is that not only is his splasher sort of like indented a little bit underneath the tank, but not only do you have the black part painted in here as well, but it's also actually got depth to it as well. It's not just one flat piece. And same thing up here with the cab windows. There's actually like a good amount of depth in there as well. So they feel a little bit more open without actually being open. And I think that's one of my favorite parts about this Thomas, just because it feels a bit more unique to the rest. And I like that decision a lot. I like the black plastic sort of coming in areas where normally you wouldn't really see something like that. Thomas also has a molded stepladder down here. That looks really nice. Obviously, I do wish it was painted, but again, I'm not really expecting that from Mattel. Same thing with the molded back lamp. This is the second ever Thomas to get a molded back lamp as well, which is pretty intriguing. The only other one was the 2010 version of Thomas, the one that came in a few sets. And here we have it again, not painted, neither are the back buffers, but again, we expect that at this point. Thomas's coal load is once again part of the cab roof mold. I feel like that's a smart idea. Looks pretty good, I think. I'm still not a fan of the red switches. I can't lie. I'm never going to get behind that, but oh well. And then he has some bunker detailing back there as well. And just generally, I'm pretty happy with how Thomas looks. He also, of course, has the new side rod design with this little middle prong there. Looks nice. And he's got the actually molded middle wheel as well. It's not just painted on like it used to be. So yeah, overall, Thomas, I am pretty impressed with. One thing I don't like, however, he doesn't have painted whistles either, which really confuses me because other characters do, and Thomas is one of the only ones that doesn't. But I do really appreciate that he's got nice and pronounced cab windows. So yeah, that is the general sort of normal stock standard Thomas for what you can get. And he comes with a golden 7-plank truck here. There's a little bit of metallic fleck in the plastic, as you can see there. It kind of shows up underneath the light. And then, of course, it's got the standard new chassis and new wheels. And it's okay, I guess. I would have appreciated some cargo, but, you know, again, it's Mattel. Not really surprised that we're not getting that. But, you know, it looks nice. And I have a theory that this is gold either because of the 80th anniversary, or it might be a reference to Thomas and the Trucks where he's hauling the brown truck. But either way, I think that's a nice little color scheme there. It also reminds me of the 2015 Trackmaster Talking Thomas because it had a similar truck in color. But yeah, that is what you're going to get in the single pack. And unfortunately, this is just now barely hitting the United States. As far as I know, they're currently only at Day Out with Thomas events, and that's a very recent development. And I had to import this one from the UK because that's where these are mainly being sold. Our second Thomas model is labeled as the Classic Thomas, and it's in the 3-pack boxes. Now, these are currently what you're mainly going to find in the United States, as we've gotten the Greatest Moments packs first. And thankfully, you'll just be able to go into a Walmart and grab this. And I'm glad this one's being widely distributed because it's got some great rolling stock. But first off, here is Thomas himself, and there's not a whole lot different, except for that. So, obviously, as you can see here, Thomas looks stained or, like, weathered. I don't really know what this is meant to be specifically, because it's like a lighter blue. If it was white, I'd get it was like quarry dust, or it could have been coal dust. But like, what is this meant to, is it meant to be water? I don't really know. Like, it's really unclear. I don't know if it's like meant to be scratches in his paintwork or what, but I mean, it's just kind of there, I guess. It's all the way across both sides of him. Nothing on the top, obviously. But yeah, there's just, I don't really get it. I kind of wish this was a normal Thomas because he has a white running board. So this is a big difference, obviously, as you can see. And, you know, I'm glad it's here. I really like it, but it doesn't go all the way around, and it's just there on the front, which I will say is way better than nothing. And he even has like the painted lamp included and everything, which honestly is a really nice detail. It also has painted buffers straight from the factory, which is a very rare thing to see nowadays. So I am grateful he has more detail here, and I love the white running board look in the front, but it's like, there are some questionable decisions here. And currently there is no way to get a normal Thomas with the white running board and extra detail. So I'm not really sure what the thought process was here. It's just kind of interesting, I guess. I don't know. Hopefully one day we will see a Thomas with a white running board and none of this weird weathering stuff. But yeah, I will compare him here with the regular Thomas, as you can see. There's a clearer difference in terms of the detail on the sides. And here is a better look at the front. And speaking of the front, they have different faces. It's basically just the same print, except it's mirrored. So Thomas would be looking to his left here, and then the other Thomas would be looking to his right. So yeah, that's about it. There's not really that many differences because these are obviously just the same model, just with a slight change here as I knock over a troublesome truck. But yeah, Thomas really is not the star of the show of this 3-pack, and that goes over to his rolling stock. So the troublesome trucks are back, and I'm so happy to see them because not only do you get 2 of them in this pack, but they're bundled with Thomas, the most popular character. So there's going to be a lot of them, and they're going to be super common. And that's great because, I mean, who doesn't want more troublesome trucks, right? And honestly, I'm really glad to see these included. And I'm also happy to see that they have brought back the original mold from 2020. So this is the original version of that truck here. And as you can see, it's basically come back with minimal changes. The faces here are basically the same tooling, but they do have some updated printing slightly. And then over here on the side, you can see the truck itself is a slightly lighter gray. And then the frames here are also now painted in a much lighter gray, sort of to mimic the silver of what they would look like. And we also have some either rust or like mud detailing on the side of them. That looks really good. I like that attention to detail a lot, and it adds a nice pop of color too. And it also matches like the little crates here in the truck. So yeah, overall, the trucks are a fantastic inclusion in my opinion. And of course, they're seen here on the new chassis. We actually have black wheels instead of the weird silver ones. The wheels are no longer geared, as you can see. Just a better, clear difference right there. And of course, just the whole chassis is different. The brake blocks look much more accurate, and overall just look way nicer. They've also removed the wobbling functionality, so these work just as normal trucks versus what we have here with the offset axles. I never loved this. I just thought it was kind of like all right as a gimmick, I guess, but they're gonna run better on actual layouts as just regular trucks on regular chassis. So I'm kind of glad they've gone and ditched that. And then of course here are the two different truck faces. It is the same tooling, but they've just been printed differently with different eyebrows, and one of them has an open mouth. Looks pretty cool. And we also have the crate loads here, and these are really nicely detailed as well. I think they look splendid, just super nice. I like that they're also different colors to add some variety there. These are reused from several AEG items, and I'm actually glad to see their inclusion here because these crate pieces themselves are very nice, and they also make for really good set dressing too. And of course, they just kind of slide in there. There's nothing holding them in, unlike most of the AEG items where they have the peg on them, but they're just gonna sit around. You know, you can have a crash and then also like knock the crates out. Some good playability there, and overall the trucks are just really nice inclusions. I like them a lot. The third and final variant I want to take a look at is actually the first item that was released here in the United States all the way back in like March, I think. And I got mine just a couple months ago now. This is the 2025 Day Out with Thomas item. So it has replaced the wooden railway one for this year. And the wooden railway model was only sold in the UK as far as I know. And everywhere else got the new motorized version instead, which, you know, I'm not super happy about because I wanted the wooden one so I can complete my collection. But we do have a new Thomas variant here, which I gotta admit looks nice. He has a new face once again, or I guess a new face print because of course same sculpt and everything. But there's a comparison between the two. Thomas is looking off here in the opposite direction, and his eyebrows are in different positions. It looks like they've copied over this raised eyebrow and put it on both sides on the new model. So I like it. I think it looks all right. Not my favorite of the faces personally, but you know, it still gets the job done. And then of course here on the side, we have a birthday banner, a bunch of confetti and streamers, and the Day Out with Thomas logo has been plastered here on the bunker. And then moving around on the other side, the logo is only on one side, weirdly enough. So they made two separate prints, and the confetti is different on either side as well. And this side says party, this side says birthday. And then we also have some frosting there, both on the cab and dripping down onto the windows. That's a great attention to detail. I like that a lot. And yeah, other than that, that's kind of it. There is one other major difference though, which really boggles my mind. And you may have noticed it earlier, but the reds are different on their running boards. This makes no sense to me, and I actually kind of hate the muted desaturated red on the normal base Thomas. I waited to bring that up now so I can make the comparison, but this saturated red looks so much better, and this is the red they've used on every other Thomas toy ever, so I don't understand why it's so muted and dark now. It looks way worse in my opinion. It doesn't contrast nicely with the blue. This does. This looks way nicer. So I really have no idea what they were going for with that. Another very quick mention, the Day Out with Thomas item came with an exclusive troublesome truck as well. This one is brown and it's got frosting sort of dripping down the sides of it. And it's got a much happier face compared to the other two. Yeah, this one does not look very troublesome at all. Actually, looks very happy to be here. And he's also got a red chassis now and blue wheels. Don't like that. I know they're trying to do a thing here with like their matching Thomas and everything, but I feel like it just looks kind of tacky, and I would have much preferred to see either a continuation of the brown plastic or just the regular gray. That would have looked a lot nicer in my opinion. Now, what confuses me here is that frosting is dripping down the sides, but there's no cargo in sight. I think they really should have added like a cake piece in here or something just to make it stick out a little more, because as it stands, you just have an empty troublesome truck with crap on the sides, and I'm not really sure what the intent there was. They might have planned to put like a cake cargo in there or something, and then maybe that got cut along the way for budget reasons, but I'm not just I don't know. I'm not really vibing with the truck, I guess. It's fine in principle, I suppose, but it's just really weird to see like the missing cargo, I guess, because you know, it implies there's cargo in there, but there really is none. Before I finish up, I do want to make some quick comparisons to some other pretty iconic models. So I'm going to start off with the original classic Tommy Thomas. Mine's not in the greatest shape, but it'll do. And this is very much a shocking comparison to see how far we've come. This is like an early 2000s Thomas versus one from 20 years after that. And of course, I mean, I don't really even have a whole lot to say, really. I mean, they're so different. Basically, you know, this is our classic model. This is what everybody is really used to, versus the new model, which really just kind of doesn't really resemble anything that came before it. It's very interesting to see how many differences are being created here with the height differences, and they're still actually shockingly the same exact length from buffer to buffer. That's actually very surprising to me. So yeah, I don't know. I feel like pointing out the differences here would just take us like an hour. So I'll just give you guys some comparison shots there, just so you can see kind of what we're dealing with. And I don't think the new model is really as good as the Tommy stuff. It's up there for sure. I actually do really like this rendition of Thomas despite its flaws. But yeah, I do think Tommy is the clear winner regardless. So I'll also quickly show off the Trackmaster 2 Thomas versus the Trackmaster 4, I guess now, Thomas. So, you know, once again, the comparisons, there's a lot to be made here for sure. This face is horrible. I can't believe we survived with this face for so long. And this one is so much better in every way, really. But yeah, I mean, Trackmaster 2 Thomas himself, I do think is one of the worst Thomas models out there. So I'm really glad it's now being shown up by this. And I do think Mattel have improved a lot here in the past few years, comparing a Thomas from 2014 to a Thomas from 2025. There's a lot to be noticed, and I'm honestly very happy that we even have something of this quality. There's one last comparison I want to make, and that is with the Troublesome Truck versus one of its original renditions. I picked out a CGI truck so we could actually see something a little bit more similar in tone, I guess. But of course, the length has not really changed at all. The Tommy ones are much longer. However, they are significantly less detailed. Honestly, I do prefer the general look of the new model. I guess not in terms of length. I do think this has a better length in mind. And, you know, it can fit more cargo inside. But in terms of, like, printing and detail, I gotta give it to the new one. This looks really nice. I really am surprised it's taken them this long to give them, like, painted frames. And the mud and or rust details are just really nice additions as well. Again, it's kind of hard to compare these just because of how different they are and how far apart these are. But still, I thought it would be a fun comparison to show off. And yeah, obviously you can, you know, put the crate cargo in that truck. It looks pretty good over here, honestly. You could put something else in the back there, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, overall, that is pretty much all I have to say about these new Thomas toys. There's quite a few of them. So I hope you enjoyed my look at Thomas, and by proxy, his variants, and also the several Troublesome trucks. So yeah, I have a lot more to say about this range as a whole. I will be reviewing the rest of the items pretty soon here. So that's pretty much all I have to say for now. So thank you all so much for watching, and have a great rest of your day. Max Monty 1516, signing out.